Welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're counting down the top 8 most valuable U.S. silver Washington quarter dollar coins that could be sitting in your collection or change jar right now. So, stick around to see if you've got a fortune hiding in plain sight. First up, the 1974 silver Washington quarter dollar with a large date and D mint mark. But what happens when this coin is in dirty condition? Can it still hold value in today's auction market? Let's find out. Let's start by taking a closer look at the 1974 silver Washington quarter. This quarter is part of the classic series that features George Washington's portrait on the front and an eagle on the reverse. But there's something special about this one. It's the 1974 large date version with a D mint mark indicating it was struck in Denver. The large dates refers to the size of the numerals used in the date. For this year, the 1974 quarters were produced in 2 varieties, large date and small date. While the small date is rarer, the large date variety is still a significant part of this series. The D mint mark tells us it was produced in Denver, which is common for many of the 1974 quarters. Now, let's talk about the condition of this coin. We're focusing on a dirty condition coin today, meaning it's not in pristine, uncirculated shape. You can see some dirt and tarnish, which might make you think it's worth less. But how does this impact its value? Well, when it comes to auction markets, even coins in less than perfect condition can still attract bids, though they typically won't fetch top dollar. Let's talk numbers. In today's auction market, the 1974 Washington quarter dollar in dirty condition can range in value, but don't expect to break the bank. Typically, these quarters can sell for between $18,000, depending on the extent of the dirt and wear. However, if you're lucky enough to find one in better condition, or even one with a unique error or minting issue, it could bring in a bit more. But remember, the value of any coin is affected by several factors. Even in dirty condition, things like the rarity of the mint mark, the demand for that particular year, and overall collector interest can affect the auction price. The 1974 silver Washington quarter is not the rarest coin out there, but it still holds a place in many collectors' hearts due to its silver content and historical significance. At auction, the value will vary greatly based on the coin's overall appearance and how it's presented. A dirty coin might not reach its full potential, but if it's part of a larger collection or offered with other silver Washington quarters, it could still bring in a nice amount. The key is to always have a clear idea of the current market trends and understand that condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. So if you're sitting on a 1974 silver Washington quarter with a large date and D mint mark in dirty condition, don't be discouraged while it won't fetch a premium like a pristine example. It still holds value in today's auction market with its historical significance and silver content. It's definitely worth keeping an eye on. Next up, the 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark. It's a classic piece of American history, and we're going to discuss its value in today's auction market, even in good condition. Let's dive in. The 1977 Washington quarter is a coin that's part of the iconic Washington quarter series, which started in 1932 to honor the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It features his profile on the obverse, while the reverse showcases a majestic eagle with spread wings. But here's something to note. The quarters minted in Philadelphia in 1977 do not have a mint mark. If your coin is missing a mint mark, it means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint. Now, before we get too far, let's clear something up. The 1977 Washington quarter does not contain any silver. By 1965, the U.S. Mint had transitioned to using a copper-nickel composition for quarters, so this coin is made of a copper core with a nickel outer layer. While it's not a silver coin, it still holds value as a collectible, especially if it's in good condition or has unique characteristics. When we talk about good condition, we're referring to a coin that shows significant wear from circulation, but still retains enough detail to be identifiable. For the 1977 quarter, this means Washington's profile and the eagle's design are visible, but they may be worn down. While good condition isn't the most desirable for collectors, it can still hold a modest value, especially if the coin is part of a larger collection. So, What's the value of a 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark in today's auction market? In good condition, these coins typically sell for around 50 cents to $1.25. While this may not seem like much, higher grades such as extremely fine or uncirculated examples can sell for $5 to $20 or more, depending on collector demand and market trends. The value in good condition is primarily for its historical appeal rather than rarity. The value of any coin is influenced by factors like rarity, condition, and collector demand. While the 1977 quarter without a mint mark is not considered rare, its age and historical significance still make it collectible. Coins in better condition, especially those graded by professional services like CGs or NC, will always command higher prices at auction. If you're looking to sell your 1977 Washington quarter or add one to your collection, here are a few tips. First, consider having it professionally graded. If you think it's in higher condition than good, this can significantly increase its value at auction. Second, research recent auction results to get an idea of current market trends. Lastly, remember that coins with unique minting errors like double die strikes or off-center errors can bring in much higher prices, so keep an eye out. While the 1977 Washington quarter without a mint mark isn't going to make you rich, it's still a piece of American history that deserves a spot in your collection. Even in good condition, it holds value as a collectible and can still fetch a modest price at auction. So check your change. You might just have one sitting around. Next up, we're going to be talking about a special coin from 1967, the silver Washington quarter dollar, which is often overlooked but still holds value, especially if it's in fine condition. We'll break down its auction market value today, so stick around to learn more. The 1967 silver Washington quarter is part of the iconic Washington quarter series. These quarters feature George Washington's portrait on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse. The important thing to note about the 1967 quarter is that it was part of the final year of silver content in U.S. circulation coins. Starting in 1965, the U.S. Mint switched to copper, nickel-clad coins, but the 1967 Washington quarter still contains 90 silver. That silver content is one of the key reasons this coin holds value. Each 1967 Washington quarter weighs approximately 6.25 grams, with 90s of that weight made up of silver. At today's silver prices, this coin has an intrinsic value based on the precious metal, which always plays a role in its worth at auction. Now, let's talk about the condition. In coin collecting, we often hear terms like fine condition, which refers to a coin that has moderate wear, but all major details are still visible. For the 1967 Washington quarter in fine condition, you can expect George Washington's profile and the eagle design to be clear, though the details might be slightly softened by years of circulation. So what's the value of this coin in today's auction market? A 1967 silver Washington quarter in fine condition typically sells for around $49,000 based on its silver content and the condition. The silver value alone is roughly around $60,000 or so, but the coin's collectible nature can push it a bit higher at auction, especially if it's part of a set or offered to the right buyer. But remember, several factors can influence how much this coin will go for at auction. For instance, the rarity and collector demand for specific years and conditions play a big role. The 1967 quarter, while not exceedingly rare, still has a certain appeal to collectors because it's the last of the silver quarters issued for circulation before the shift to clad coins. If you have a 1967 silver Washington quarter and you're thinking about selling it at auction, here are a few tips to maximize its value. First, make sure the coin is clean, but not polished cleaning coins can decrease their value. Second, check the current silver prices as they fluctuate and can impact the coin's base value. Finally, consider having the coin graded by a professional service like PCs or NC to ensure you're getting the most accurate valuation. While the 1967 silver Washington quarter in fine condition isn't going to make you a fortune, it's still a nice piece of American history, especially for collectors who are looking to complete their Washington quarter series. Next up, U.S. quarters, the 1993 silver Washington quarter with a D mint mark. If you're wondering how much this coin could fetch in today's auction market, especially in extra fine condition, stick around. We've got all the details for you. Here, we have the 1993 silver Washington quarter. The design features George Washington's portrait on the obverse, as you might expect from the Washington Quarter series, and the reverse showcases the familiar eagle. What's interesting about this coin is that it's from a period of U.S. coinage when quarters were made using a copper nickel-clad composition, but this particular coin still holds appeal to collectors for its historical significance. Now, if you look closely at the obverse of the 1993 quarter, you'll see the D mint mark, which indicates that it was minted in Denver. Unlike earlier years when silver was still used in quarters, the 1993 quarters are not made of silver. They have a copper nickel-clad composition, which is a combination of copper and nickel layers surrounding a copper core. So, while it's not a silver coin, it's still a key date for collectors of modern U.S. coinage. Let's talk about condition. This coin is graded as extra fine, which means it shows minimal wear, but the main details like Washington's profile and the eagle's feathers are still very crisp and sharp. The coin has seen some circulation, but not enough to significantly diminish the design. Extra fine coins are highly desirable because they retain a lot of their original detail, making them more valuable than coins in lower grades. So what's this coin worth in today's auction market? A 1993 Washington quarter with AD mint mark in extra fine condition typically sells for around $73,000 or more. While that may not seem like a huge amount, it's still a solid value for a coin that's nearly 30 years old, especially when you consider the fact that it's in extra fine condition and still holds historical significance for collectors of modern U.S. coins. But why does the value of this coin fluctuate? Several factors can influence auction prices. The condition is a big one. Coins in better condition will always fetch more, but collector demand also plays a huge role. The 1993 Washington quarter, while not rare, has a steady following, and collectors of modern U.S. quarters will often pay a bit more for a well-preserved coin. If you're thinking of selling your 1993 Washington quarter or adding one to your collection, here are some tips. First, always check the condition. Coins graded in extra fine or better condition will have a noticeable difference in value. Second, if you're selling it, consider having it professionally graded by a service like SIGS or NZC, which could help you achieve a higher auction price. And finally, keep an eye on trends in the coin market, as demand for certain years can fluctuate based on popularity. While the 1993 Washington quarter with the D mint mark might not be the rarest coin out there, it's still a valuable piece for collectors, especially when it's in extra fine condition. It's a reminder of the U.S. Mint's modern quarter series, and with a little care, it can fetch a decent price at auction. Next up, we're going to explore an interesting coin from the late 1970s, the 1979 Washington quarter with AD mint mark. Now, this particular coin is in damaged condition, but even damaged coins can hold value in today's auction market. Curious about what this coin might be worth? Let's dive in. The 1979 Washington quarter is part of the long-running Washington quarter series, first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. This quarter features Washington's portrait on the obverse and a bald eagle on the reverse. The D mint mark indicates that it was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced over 489 million quarters in 1979. Unlike earlier Washington quarters that were made of 90 silver, the 1979 quarter is part of the copper nickel-clad era. This means it has a core of pure copper and outer layers of a copper-nickel alloy. While it doesn't have intrinsic silver value, it can still hold collectible value, depending on condition and rarity. Now, let's talk about the condition. This coin is in damaged condition, meaning it shows signs of heavy wear, scratches, dents, or discoloration that significantly impact its appearance and value. While damage does reduce a coin's value, some collectors still seek out damaged coins to fill gaps in their collections or for educational purposes. So, what's the value of a 1979 Washington quarter with AD mint mark in damaged condition in today's auction market? Damaged examples typically sell for face value $36,000 or slightly more, depending on collector interest. However, if the coin has unique damage, such as errors during minting, it could fetch anywhere from $42,000 at auction. Speaking of errors, always double-check your damaged coins. Sometimes what appears to be regular wear or damage could actually be a minting error like an offset or strike, a double die, or a clipped planchette. These error coins are much rarer and can be worth significantly more, sometimes upwards of $50 or more, even in damaged condition. If you're selling or buying a damaged 1979 Washington quarter, here are a few tips. First, check if the damage was caused during minting. This could make it more valuable. Second, research similar coins on auction platforms like eBay to see what they're selling for. And finally, if the coin is heavily damaged, it might still hold value as part of a bulk lot of coins. While a 1979 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in damaged condition isn't a jackpot find, it's still a piece of history that might have a small value in the collector market. And remember, if your coin has any signs of being an error coin, it could be worth much more than you think. Next up in today's video, we'll take a closer look at the 1981 Washington quarter with the P mint mark. While this coin isn't made of silver, it's still part of a beloved series, and we'll discuss its value in good condition on today's auction market. Let's get started. The 1981 Washington quarter continues the iconic design that began in 1932, featuring George Washington's profile on the obverse and a majestic eagle on the reverse. The P mint mark tells us it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which produced over 601 million quarters that year. It's not a rare coin by mintage numbers, but collectors still look for examples in good condition for their collections. Unlike earlier Washington quarters minted before 1965, which were made of 90 silver, the 1981 quarter is composed of a copper nickel-clad material. This means it has a core of pure copper surrounded by layers of copper and nickel alloy. While it doesn't have intrinsic silver value, its collectible appeal remains strong. This particular coin is in good condition, which means it shows noticeable signs of wear from circulation. Details on Washington's portrait and the eagle may be smooth or less defined, and there could be scratches or discoloration despite the wear. Coins in good condition still hold interest for collectors, especially those building date runs of Washington quarters. So what's the value of a 1981 Washington quarter with AP mint mark in good condition in today's auction market? These coins typically sell for around $25,000 depending on the buyer's interest. While that may seem modest, coins in better conditions, like uncirculated examples, can sell for $50,000 or more, making condition a major factor in value. Several factors influence the value of the 1981 Washington quarter. First, condition is key. Coins in good condition are valued at or slightly above face value. Second, demand plays a role. While the 1981 quarter isn't rare, some collectors look for specific dates or mint marks to complete their collections. Finally, any unique features, such as errors or toning, can increase the coin's value significantly. If you're collecting or selling a 1981 Washington quarter, here are a few tips. First, check for minting errors. Double strikes, off-center errors, or die cracks can increase the coin's value. Second, consider grouping it with other quarters for a bulk auction if it's in good condition, as these lots often attract more bidders. Lastly, store your coin properly to prevent further wear or damage. While the 1981 Washington quarter with AP mint mark in good condition isn't a high-value collectible, it's still a fascinating piece of U.S. coinage history. Whether you're adding it to a collection or just curious about its value, this coin shows the enduring appeal of the Washington quarter series. Next up, we're going to talk about the 1985 Washington quarter with the P mint mark. This quarter is part of the iconic Washington quarter series, but in very fine condition, it can have a surprising value on today's auction market. Let's dive into what makes this coin special and how much it's worth in. The 1985 Washington quarter features the timeless design of George Washington's portrait on the obverse and a soaring eagle on the reverse. The P mint mark means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, which in 1985 produced over 550 million quarters. Though it's not a rare coin in terms of mintage, its condition can play a big role in its collectible value. Like most quarters minted after 1964, the 1985 Washington quarter is made of copper, nickel-clad, with an inner core of copper and outer layers of copper and nickel. This composition means the coin doesn't have the silver content that some earlier Washington quarters had. But don't worry, it's still valuable to collectors, especially when it's in good condition like this one. Now, let's talk about condition. This 1985 Washington quarter is in very fine condition, which means it is only light wear and retains clear details. Washington's features and the eagle's feathers are still well defined, though there might be slight wear on high points like the coin's rim and the eagle's wings. A coin in this condition is sought after by collectors for its clarity and overall look. So, what's the value of a 1985 Washington quarter in very fine condition today? This coin typically sells for around $53,000 at auction. While it's not going to break the bank, it's still a decent price for a coin that has a lot of appeal for collectors, especially those focusing on completing a date run of Washington quarters. Several factors can influence the value of your 1985 Washington quarter. The biggest one is the condition. Very fine coins tend to do better than coins in lower grades, like good or fine condition. The demand for Washington quarters also plays a role. Some collectors are specifically looking for quarters from each year, and the 1985 date isn't particularly rare, but collectors still want it to fill gaps in their collections. If you have a 1985 Washington quarter in your collection, here are a few tips to make sure you're getting the best price if you decide to sell first. Check the overall condition closely. Coins in very fine condition are a sweet spot for collectors, but make sure there's no excessive wear or damage that could bring the value down. Second, research similar coins on auction platforms like eBay to get an idea of the going rate for coins in similar condition. While the 1985 Washington quarter with AP mint mark in very fine condition isn't going to make you rich, it's definitely worth holding on to or considering for your collection. As part of the iconic Washington quarter series, it has lasting appeal and its value remains steady in today's market. Next up, the 1987 Washington quarter, specifically the large date variety with D mint mark in extra fine condition. We'll break down its value in today's auction market and explore why this coin might be a great addition to your collection. Let's dive in. The 1987 Washington quarter carries the classic design we've come to expect from this iconic series, George Washington's profile on the obverse and a powerful eagle on the reverse. The D mint mark indicates that this coin was struck at the Denver Mint, which produced millions of these quarters in. The 1987 Washington quarter is unique in that it comes in two varieties, a large date and a small date. This particular coin is the large date version, and while both varieties have similar mintage numbers, the large date variety has become a favorite among collectors. So why does the large date matter? It's all about the design elements, specifically the size of the numbers in the date. Some collectors like the larger digits because they provide a unique variation in the series. Just like most quarters minted after 1964, this 1987 Washington quarter is made of a copper nickel-clad composition. It features an inner core of copper, surrounded by layers of copper and nickel. This differs from earlier Washington quarters, which were made of 90 silver, but don't worry, it still holds its value for collectors who appreciate its place in the Washington quarter series. Now, let's talk about condition. This coin is in extra fine condition, which means it shows only light wear, but all the key details like Washington's hair and the eagle's feathers are sharp and well defined. A coin in extra fine condition still holds a lot of appeal for collectors because it maintains much of its original luster and detail, making it a highly sought after piece. So, what's the value of a 1987 Washington quarter with D mint mark in extra fine condition today? You can expect to see this coin sell for anywhere between $38,000 at auction, depending on the interest and demand. While it's not an extremely rare coin, its condition and the large date variety help boost its value beyond face value. The value of your 1987 Washington quarter can be influenced by a few factors. First, the condition is key coins in extra fine condition are worth significantly more than those in lower grades. Second, There's the demand. While this isn't a rare date or mint mark, collectors who specialize in Washington quarters or those looking for specific varieties will often pay a premium for a high-quality coin. If you have a 1987 Washington quarter in your collection, here are a few tips. First, make sure the coin is properly graded. If your coin is in extra fine condition, you're in great shape. But if it's lower, like in good or fine condition, expect the value to be lower next. Research auction results for similar coins. If you're selling, listing your coin in an auction with great photos and a detailed description will help it stand out to collectors. Lastly, store your coin in a protective holder to avoid scratches or further wear that could diminish its value. While the 1987 Washington quarter with a D mint mark in extra fine condition isn't one of the rarest quarters, it certainly holds value for collectors who appreciate its unique large date design and excellent condition. Whether you're adding it to your collection or selling it, this coin has lasting appeal in the world of numismatics. Thanks for watching today's video. If you enjoyed learning about the 1987 Washington quarter, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future coin content. Have a 1987 Washington quarter in your collection? Let me know in the comments below. Until next time, happy collecting.